All right, bit of interesting development with the WBA and their regular, I hate to, oh man, regular WBA title. I mean, I really did think that we were seeing the end of this. Actually, I thought we saw the end of this belt when Dubois fought Usyk. We were meant to. Apparently not. Apparently not. But, listen, I despise the WBA regular title. I really do. Because it's just so unnecessary. It really is. But there is there's some interesting things going on here. So, the Ring Magazine are reporting that the WBA have now officially ordered Kubrat Pulev, who won that title just before Christmas against Manuel Char. Oh boy, that was a doozy of a fight to watch, wasn't it? To defend his regular title against Fabio Wardley next. Now here's the interesting part, right? The winner must then face Micheal Hunter. Alexander Usyk has been granted a 2-year extension to his. Oh my god, I love Alexander Usyk, but seriously, what, like, he has now been granted a 2-year extension to his mandatory defense period to allow him to pursue bigger fights. He's literally only going to have 2 more fights. The WBA and the WBC, they really do just, they take the you know what, like the WBO and the IBF. The IBF in particular, WBO are pretty good for it too. They are quick like that with their mandatories. The WBO don't allow fighters coming in off a loss, obviously just as a voluntary or anything like that. They have rules and they stick by them for the most part. The WBA and WBC just do not care. But that's all talk of that aside, because if you think about it, right? 2-year extension. Well, his last WBA mandatory, Alexander Usyk, was nearly 2 years ago. Are they going to do one mandatory defense in 4 years for a heavyweight title? Good lord. That's not good going. That's not good going. Really not. But let's talk about Fabio Wardley versus Kubrat Pulev and the potential of him taking on Micheal Hunter. Now, Fabio Wardley, obviously, he's looked a lot more impressive over his last couple of fights. There was a time when I looked at Fabio Wardley and I was amazed that for someone who had no amateur experience, like white collar is not amateur, it's not even remotely close. So to come from that to look as polished as he does, it was impressive. And you could see there was speed there, his jab looked good, he good punching power. The punching power was always, you could see that from the get-go, and then he had that just tenacity. But you could see early on that there was limitations there, certainly at that point in his career. Like when he was fighting I know he got rid of Nick Webb, but Nick Webb had a bit of success in that first round, especially when he fought Nathan Gorman. The jab from Nathan Gorman was really bothering Fabio Wardley early on. And now to see how his career is gone, he's with Shane McGuigan now, I believe, and he's looking really, really, really good. His last few fights are testament to that. Like, he handled David Adelaide really no problem. The first Fraser Clark fight was tough. It was a big learning fight. The second fight, I mean, that's got to be one of the knockouts of the year. So he's on an upward trajectory now. Pulev's got to be well into his 40s. Well, I know he is in his 40s, but he's got to be well into his 40s. Yeah, like, he's only lost to Klitschko, Joshua and Chisora, but he's looked, listen, I thought against Joshua he looked well and truly done. That was nearly 5 years ago. It was over 4 years ago, December 20. And now against someone who's young, fit and like raring to go, you know, had that tenacity like Fabio Wardley. Got Fabio Wardley winning this fight probably by stoppage. You know, Pulev is not, I wouldn't necessarily say Pulev is chinny. I don't think he is. I mean, he's been knocked out by 2 very, very big punchers in Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. In particular, the Klitschko, if you've seen that, I mean, Klitschko those left hooks were deadly that he was hitting Kubrat Pulev with. So he's not chinny in that regard, you know, and he's never been really noticeably buzzed by any other fighters. I think Wardley, I don't know if he's on par with a Klitschko or Joshua in terms of punching power, but he certainly can punch. So I think he probably would win this fight. It's an older Kubrat Pulev. If it was peak Pulev, I'd say this is a tricky fight, because Pulev could be awkward. He held a little bit. His fights, he would win them, but he wouldn't look he would look alright, but they'd just be meh. You wouldn't be rushing and jumping for joy to watch a Kubrat Pulev fight. I'll put it to you like that. So I think that right now, in Wardley's respective career, that's a good fight to make, and I think he'll win. But then you chuck Micheal Hunter into the situation. Now, Micheal Hunter had, so let's say Fabio Wardley hypothetically beats Kubrat Pulev. Let's say he beats him, right? And I think he will. If we're talking about the Michael Hunter who fought that guy Sergey Kuzmin, that Michael Hunter, in my opinion, beats Fabio Wardley. Maybe even stops him, but he beats him certainly. Don't think we have that Michael Hunter anymore. Michael Hunter, to me, is very much a what-if story. It's very disappointing, it really is. He was in a very, very good place. He fought Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight. He then moved up to heavyweight. And the reality was, he probably still could have made cruiserweight, to be honest with you. Like, he was carrying a little bit of timber. It was not much, a little bit of timber at heavyweight. And he was only in the 2 teens. So you really got the impression if you could get rid of that little bit of fat, he's really a cruiserweight. You know, really is. And he could have been a beast. He would have easily won a world title at cruiserweight. Would have been a beast of cruiserweight as well. He was a good fighter. Still is. Well, I don't know about now, but was certainly back then. Did a very good run at heavyweight. Called out whoever he could call out. But then when he was faced with everything he was saying, that he'd fight for free, he'd do this, that and the other, when he was finally faced with it, and that was when a purse bid was called for him to face Filip Hrgović, he went off the triller and took, well, a fight against Jerry Forrest, who he already beat, and very lucky to get away with a draw. I thought he lost that fight. He was a fighter who talked about fighting for free, but he went where the money was. And it dried up pretty quick from Triller. We haven't heard of them in years. So, and since then his career has just been stop-start. I think he even fought on a Don King show. I mean, it's the year 2025 or 24. When he fought on the King show, and you're fighting on a Don King show. I mean, that says it all. That says it all. That says where you are. Because who the hell wants to fight in a Don King show? No one. No one wants to work with Don King. I can't blame them. And that's what Michael Hunter is. So if Fabio Wardley beats Kubrat Pulev and he does then go on to face Michael Hunter, I still think Hunter will have a little bit left in the tank, but excuse me, not enough to. I'm going to keep that in there because why not? I couldn't help it. I think he'll have a little bit left in the tank anyway, but not enough to get by Fabio Wardley's. Not enough to get by his tenacity, his punching power, and I think now his best days are probably well and truly behind him. He's in his mid to late 30s now, Michael Hunter. So yeah, I'd say Fabio Wardley is on the incline. He's on the up. He's on the up, and Michael Hunter is definitely on the down. There you go. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. As always, if you could, smash the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, peace.